you.
They give me a traveling mic because I can't stay still. Well, it's the holiday kickoff, isn't it? December 1st. How ready are you? Are you? Oh, good, good. You know, as a minister, I've been thinking and planning for the holidays for a long time now, and one of the central themes of the holidays is Christmas, isn't it? And it is about the birth of Jesus, the celebration of the birth of this great teacher. And as I've been thinking about that, I've looked a lot at my own relationship with Jesus. We didn't have much religion in our family, and so I kind of grew up getting those stories from the Bible hit or miss throughout the times, the rare occasions I attended Sunday school and so forth. And frankly, the stories of Jesus live somewhere in my memory just behind the stories of Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Because those are the stories that really lit up my heart as a little girl, because frankly, there was something in it for me, you know? Yeah. And the stories of Jesus seemed not to have as much relevance to me as the Tooth Fairy, for example. And the stories of the only Son of God coming to earth to teach us how to love was great. But that he died on the cross for my sins, I could never, that was a terrifying story to me. Some of you I see a few head nods that may have been the case for you as well. So here it comes, and it's time for the holidays, and I'm telling you my story because the title of my talk is The Wisdom of Jesus. That's not true. The Faith of Jesus. I know I often have to check my notes. Let me get my notes out here, just in case. So something happened to me when I was a kid, though. When I was about 16 years old, I went to a Catholic youth retreat and had my life changed. That weekend, I felt so cared for, and so I belonged so much there. I was so loved. And even though the care and the loving that I received came from actual, real human beings, they told me that what I was experiencing was Jesus in my heart. And so I fell in love with Jesus that weekend. And it changed my life. Now, shortly after that, probably within a year, I rejected religion and had to really find my way as an adult without the doctrine of original sin and atonement and all of those things. But what never left me was that felt sense of having Jesus in my heart, that sense of love and belonging. And it seemed to come from within. So I really understand whenever a proselytizing Christian asks me, do you have Jesus in your heart? Yes, I do. I just don't call it that anymore. So that's the foundation of the talk that I have today, the wisdom of Jesus. When I began studying Ernest Holmes, I realized that Dr. Holmes and this philosophy that we teach and study here is based on the teachings of Jesus. And so then they began to be real for me. The stories of Jesus actually began to take a life because I could appreciate what a genius this man was. That he was indeed in touch with something, some mystery that underlies the universe that allowed him to do amazing things. So, primary among the teachings of Ernest Holmes is this that comes from the book of Mark. Jesus said, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. So Jesus is talking about an automatic, reciprocal action of something mysterious that responds to him according to his belief. And he believed it so thoroughly that there wasn't an ounce of doubt in what he did. So he could say, Lazarus, get up. and the dead man rose. Or, woman, your faith has healed you. Because he understood this divine mystery that is all around us is activated by faith. So Holmes wrote that it is done unto you. And ask for what? Ask for what you want and need, but do it from a place of claiming it, as it's already done, and it shall be yours. He called that the law. And he taught us that because it is stimulated and activated by belief, we by gosh better watch what we believe. We by gosh better understand what we are thinking and putting out there, because we can ask in ways, and we can ask for things that we don't even know we're asking for. Unshakable belief in the power of the infinite. Let me take that again. I really should be wearing my glasses. Unshakable belief in the power of the invisible. That's faith. Utter certainty that we use an unseen power every day, a power that never changes, that always responds to us. Okay? Now let me mess with you a little bit. I was just talking about electricity. Okay? Isn't that an unseen power that we use every day that never changes and always responds to us? Yes, it is. I don't know about you, but I've never once in my life waked up in the morning and said, gee, I wonder if electricity is going to happen again today. No. I believe in it so firmly that I never question it. It never crosses my mind to doubt the power of electricity. Or the power of gravity. No one gets up in the morning and says, boy, I better not let go till I find out if I'm going to stay on the ground. We trust it. We believe it. In the same way that Jesus believed that there is a power in the universe that responds to him when he asks, knowing that he's going to receive it. Isn't that an amazing level of faith? Isn't that a mind-bending level of faith? Now, I don't believe that I have to ask in prayer for electricity to light my lights. Nor do I have to ask in prayer that gravity keep me from floating off into outer space. But you see, the power of the universe, the spiritual power of the universe, is activated by that very thing. It's the spiritual technology for turning on the use of this divine power that Jesus knew so well. You see, the powers of electricity and gravity work the way they work just because that's what they do. That's the principle, that's the law of gravity, the law of electricity. The spiritual law, the law of God, works in the same way, but the technology is different. The technology is ask for what you want, believing that you have it and it shall be done for you. Now, why is that so hard? Well, I think because we look out at the world and we look at the evidence around us and we see the war and the crime and the poverty and the hatred, and we say, I did not ask for this. But you see, it's up to us to ask for what we want. And our brains find it so illogical that there could even be a beneficent power in the universe that could move these societal mountains of poverty and greed and war. It's so hard for us to even halfway believe that there's a power great enough to do that just because we ask it to. This is a very powerful teaching, but there's nothing easy about it, is there? It's one that requires daily practice. It's an art. It's a true art. Holmes tells us in a wonderful little book called Words That Heal Today. First of all, Jesus said, judge not according to appearances. That is, do not be confused by the conditions around you. Prayer always reaches its highest possibility when it rises above the limitation of any existing circumstance. So this is the kind of faith that Jesus had, that rises above everything. Now, how could anyone arrive at such a conviction unless he knew that he was dealing with a power which can rearrange facts and create new ones? Isn't that a marvelous description of God? So the power of electricity lights our lamps. The power of gravity holds everything down. The power of God rearranges facts and creates new ones. Isn't that interesting? No, we did not ask for crime or poverty or war, but we do need to ask for what we want. So here's the deal. We harness the power of electricity by figuring out what we need and what we want from this power, right? And then we go about setting up the generators and the wiring and the switching and the gadgets in order to allow it to flow into our homes to create heat and light, right? Gravity. We harness the power of gravity by first figuring out what it is that we want and need from gravity. And then, for example, to bring the space shuttle back safe to the ground, we design the spacecraft well enough and brilliantly enough so that it can take advantage of the power of gravity to coming home, right? Well, the same technology, a different slant on that same technology, is what Ernest Holmes developed in the 5 steps of treatment, spiritual mind treatment, which is the kind of prayer that we use, that you hear Cece pray, Reverend Cece pray every week, and that you'll hear me pray. So it's a technology then of communing with that divine spirit within and creating the ask and creating the faith to support that ask in knowing that it's coming and then letting go of it. That's what it is. Holmes also wrote, man is powerful because he deals with power. He may become wise because he is immersed in wisdom. That's our relationship with the divine. Holmes also tells us that the purpose of prayer is to commune with the Spirit. To commune with the Spirit, which we think of in terms of love and peace and harmony and joy, order, plenty. All of those are the aspects of the divine one, the mystery, because frankly it is a mystery. And when I use the word God, it's to cover everything I don't know in the universe, the mystery itself. So I believe that the indwelling presence that Holmes tells us to commune with is that very feeling of love that I experienced when I fell in love with Jesus. You know, and to nurture that, it may not be the same for you. It may be something else that you feel when you connect with something that feels like a presence itself, a presence of love, a beneficent spirit in your life. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. So from this monumental piece of wisdom from Jesus, Holmes developed this philosophy, which centers around the 5 steps. So step 1, we become conscious of the one power and the one presence that encompasses and indwells everything. That means, for me, getting back to that feeling of love in my heart. For you, it might be peace. It might be joy. It might be safety. Whatever it is that you feel when you are connected to your own divine mystery. Second, we surrender any feelings of being separate because we know that's illusion. The only reason we feel separate is because we are gifted with the human ego, and it's the ego's job to figure out how to do life as an individual. But it's really illusion because we share the same love, we share the one mind, we share with each other. Even the air we breathe is shared. So next, this is the 3rd step. We state what we want as though we already have it. We claim it. We own it. We receive it. And this is where we see the measure of our faith. Belief in the great love and law that we belong to. Then we give thanks for that inner presence, for having already received it. And then we release it. Whatever you ask for in prayer. This last step is very important because releasing it is sometimes hard. It's that we letting go and knowing that Spirit has a way of doing it that we could not even conceive of. Because I cannot rearrange facts to make a change in my life. I pretend that I can. And I think we all do that from time to time. But really, the thing itself can make those changes that I can't. So releasing it is saying to Spirit, okay, you do it. I trust you. I've got it. So it's all about discipline then, isn't it? Disciplining our thoughts to stay on track for the good and not letting little thoughts like, well, if I want it to be done right, I should do it myself. Because Spirit can do it a whole lot better than I can. And it's about, it's like pulling up a plant to see if the roots are rooting. You can't do that. You leave it and you walk away and you say thanks. And every day you say thanks for it. It takes building of faith and trust in the power. And faith that this inner presence inside of you loves you so much and cares about you so much that it will literally meet whatever requirement you set before it. Wow, that's a big love. I want to leave you with one piece of wisdom from Jesus that I got from the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas. And this was the one that was buried in the desert until about 1945. So it's a relatively unredacted piece of ancient history. In it, Jesus said, when you make the two one, you will become the sons of man. And when you say mountain, move away, it will move. Now, it seems like a very mysterious saying. But when you think about it, when you make the two one, when you unify your heart with the one heart, when you unify the human mind with the divine mind, you make the two one. And then you become the sons and daughters of man, not God. The sons and daughters of mankind. Now, what does this say about the potential that Jesus felt humans could achieve? That the sons of man are the ones that can make the two one and harness the spiritual power to move the mountains before us. When we fully realize the power inside of us, the power that we harness, we will say to the mountain, move, and it will move. We will say to poverty, get thee behind me, and it will. We can say to war, cease in the name of love, and wars will cease. We could say hunger, be no more, and it shall remove itself. You see, we're that powerful. So, I think that's why Centers for Spiritual Living dares to hold a vision that says, we see a world that works for everyone. That's a big vision. But you see now how we dare hold it. It's the same vision that Jesus held. We can do great things when we understand who we really are. So today, as we move into prayer, I would like you to let my words be your words. As if you were saying them inside of yourself. And first, let's start with a moment of meditation. As we just breathe and sit with the reverberation of that idea that the two become one. And in it, let your mind move across the landscape of your life. and see if you can identify an obstacle that's before you, between you and your happiness or your good or your peace. And ask yourself, am I willing for this mountain to be moved? And some of these mountains, we just can't conceive of moving at this time. So if that's the case, then move on to another one. Something that you are willing to see moved and removed from your life. And let's begin by really remembering what we know about God. Divine mind, universal spirit, whatever you call it. We know in faith that God is good, that God is power, that God is intelligence and love. And all of those things are all around us. We are immersed in them. We become wise because we are immersed in wisdom. We become powerful because we are immersed in power. And that's because there is no separation. And that is step 2. I am one with the Almighty. I am one with God. God moves through me, as me, and out into my experience. And see if you can feel that to the very depths of your being. I am one with the power and presence of the mystery. I use the technology of spirit to harness the power of spirit. I use the law of God by participating with it, by following its rules. And so the third step is that I now make real in my mind that mountain has moved, that obstacle is removed. How do I feel? I feel filled with vitality. I feel filled with joy, with harmony, with peace. I feel like I've just lost 20 pounds and 20 years. I am alive. I am filled with Godness, with goodness. And so I let it be. I make it so real in my mind that it cannot help but remove itself. And so I say thank you to the universe. I am so grateful for this technology and this power and presence that changes my life simply because I let it be so. So I know for every person here, perfect health, perfect vitality, abundance overflowing, that joy is the birthright, that love is the present from the presence, that camaraderie and friendship are our divine birthright. I claim that. I receive that now on behalf of all people everywhere. I light my heart, and I show the way for others to light their hearts. That is what I do as a human being, and I claim that truth for every person here. So with gratitude, with a grateful, overflowing heart, I simply release it to the working of the law, knowing that it is done. And together we say, and so it is.
I am remembering who I am. 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 I
We are just so grateful to Reverend Molly for her beautiful talk, inspiring talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we have the opportunity to move into that flow of giving and receiving. It's a time where we have this opportunity to be grateful to the spiritual community and to act on that gratitude by supporting it. We're here every Sunday and every day with services, classes, and everything else we offer because of your gifts and your contributions. Thank you. So please take your gift in your hands and heart and repeat after me. My gift goes forth to bless and to prosper.
My gift goes forth to bless and to prosper.
It does its perfect work
It does its perfect work
and returns to me multiplied abundantly.
and returns to me multiplied abundantly.
I am grateful,
I am grateful.
and so it is.
So it is.